Trust the Profits Breeders' Cup. We are in it to win it.
Trust the Profits Breeders' Cup coverage is brought to you by PlayUp Racebook, the most horse player friendly racebook in the industry. PlayUp Racebook is always your best bet.
Trust the Profit Breeders' Cup. We've seen a lot of new faces, but the two OGs are here, the Formula and El Hombre. And we're here to talk about our only win picks for Breeders' Cup Friday and Saturday. El Hombre, how's it going?
It's great, man. So pumped. Might be going to Keeneland, and it is Wednesday night. I'm a little bit concerned that I don't know for sure if I'm going, but
yeah,
either way, it's going to be awesome.
It's Wednesday. Yeah. You're not sure if you're going. Everybody else's reaction. Oh my God. You got to put all that together in a short period of time. Well, let's get cooking on our picks, right? We're having a good time. The OGs are here. We haven't gotten together in a long time, and we want to show you our only win picks. Let's start with the juvenile turf sprint. Look at that. We just came aligned with Tyler's tribe. Do you want to kick off the discussion on TT?
Yes. And here's the thing. I think it's too good of a Cinderella story to pass up, for one.
It is.
It's amazing. If you haven't heard the story, Google Tyler's tribe and look it all up. It's an amazing story. But the horse is not a fluke either.
No.
This is a big field. It's on turf, and they're juveniles. Like, that's the ultimate mix of anything can happen. And I think he's got enough speed and talent to get it done. I think he's got this just as much of a chance as anybody else in this race, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. I mean, this horse is killing it. I mean, when I look at his race value, which is a metric I came up with to figure out, distance between win and the value of the race in terms of purse prize and whatnot, it's incredible because he's just beating horses in 6 furlong races by double-digit lengths. And yeah, okay, he's doing it Prairie Meadows. That's fine. But he's still just piling them up in terms of distance. He's showing that he doesn't belong there and he belongs on the big stage. There was talk of him going into the juvenile, racing a longer distance, 6 furlongs. I'm glad to see him here.
I mean, my only fear here is that people are going to fall in love with this story so much that he's going to be bet down crazy. But
yeah, you're not going to get 15-1 on Tyler's tribe. There's too much of a story. Right. Too many people are going to want to bet him and not even look across the board at other values.
With that said, we're doing it. And I'm glad we agreed, by the way. We are blind to each other's picks on this. So
that's right. We did.
Shocker. Let's move on. Juvenile fillies.
Who we got
eventually
there?
Here we go.
Oh, Raging Sea. You picked Raging Sea.
We both are staying off the chalk here, which is good. No chalk early anyway. Raging Sea, 8-1, the 14 horse. I don't like the draw very much, but coming off the best race of the young career, most consistent overall speed figures is why I like this, because in this situation, again, we're dealing with juveniles. If there's anything to draw from, it might be maybe 2 or 3 or 5 starts or 2 starts or 1 start. You're just looking for some consistency, and Raging Sea has been pretty solid, and at 8-1 morning line, I'm taking that.
That's a good value on Raging Sea. And as one of our posters has pointed out, Mark Palmer, he did get a DQ in that race, so it looked worse for him than it actually was. And he's put up a couple good races so far. I chose Atomically, not automatically, like some people have said, some people being me on accident. True story. Saez and Pletcher. When you look at juvies, especially running 8.5 furlongs, I like to look for horses that have had early success in that distance. And she has that, winning the My Dear Girl Stakes by almost 7 lengths in a 10-horse field. Those two things combined were the reasons I went with Atomically this time around.
And I'll be honest, juvenile, if you're not a big Breeders' Cup person or haven't watched it fully in the past, Juvenile Day, there's going to be huge prices. And so if you're looking at chalk, you're probably not right, which is a great thing. It's part of the reason why the Breeders' Cup is so awesome, because you see a lot of opportunity if you pick the right juvenile, especially on Juvenile Day. It's amazing.
And sometimes the top 3 are huge prices too. Oh, look at that.
Juvenile fillies on the turf. I'm going Commanche Country, 15-1 morning line.
It's going commando.
I feel like this is the biggest, most wide open race of the whole weekend, probably.
Okay, fair enough.
In my notes, I have it's going to be the most, it's going to generate a huge price. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I feel like this is a race that literally 3/4 of that field can win.
Yes.
And if Commanche can run or match the effort he ran 2 races ago at Del Mar,
yeah,
we're going to have Rispoli out there in the winner's circle at Keeneland. I'll be giving him 5. He'll be signing autographs. I'll be signing an autograph for him to give to his kids. Yep. All that. Love Comanche country at a price because, again, you cannot bet the chalk on juvenile night. Go ahead.
I'm going to bet the chalk. Just this once, at least. Just this once, because it's going to come up at least once. Twice already in a row, I've gone against the chalk. But meditate. I almost said mediate. Meditate. Aiden O'Brien at BC, always a good thing, right? The race is a mile on turf. The horse has great closing numbers. There are some horses with long numbers I dig, but I think if the chips fall as they should, Ryan Moore, Aiden Brown, they know how to win races at BC. This horse has finished first 4 times and second twice in its short 6-race career. I really like meditate here. Yeah, I know it's a bit chalky at 4-1. I'm really hoping that someone starts digging another horse here and pumps up the price on that. But if I'm just going to pick my winner, Ryan Moore, Aiden O'Brien, meditate, give it to me.
Well, because it's so balanced, you probably will get 4-1. So even if that's the chalk, 4-1 is not a bad price.
Yeah, you went
juvenile.
4-1.
Now let's go.
Oh,
we matched up again. Matthew Forte, the former Bears running back, 4-1.
Tulane running back.
So that's actually I think it's 3-1. That might be an error on my part on the.
No.
4-1.
I've got it at 4-1 as well. I'll
depends on where you're looking, I suppose.
I'll jump into this one right away, and then you can fill it if you want. Forte versus Cave Rock. This could be a Kentucky Derby rivalry. Obviously, we're projecting way out here. We just touched November, and we got until May to determine this. But this is how it's shaping up, at least early on. I like the odds on Forte here. I like Forte at the distance, just a tad more than Cave Rock. And they do seem, it's a little bit early to determine this, but it does seem like they have different styles. Cave Rock is that classic Baffert horse that gets on the pace early, sets it, and tries to blow everyone out of the water before they have a chance to catch up. Whereas Forte might be the one that has a little bit more of a stalking and closer speed. But I dig Forte here, especially at the number. It's hard to bet Cave Rock here when he's already under 1. So Forte is my pick. Go. What's your
same
pick?
Justification, dude.
Same justification, yeah.
I have right in my notes. It's a duel between Forte and Cave Rock. I mean, of course, there's the opportunity for a different juveniles to get involved here,
right?
But with these two, I think they're the only two you can feel really comfortable about their past with.
Yeah.
So the only difference for me is I think Forte is a better price. To be honest, I think they're very
Absolutely.
equal, and this is probably a race that I will not bet outside of sequence bets. But if I had
a different way, right?
If I had to, I would lean towards Forte just because the price opportunity against Cave Rock, who I think is going to be like 1-1 or worse. So
I think so. He's a Baffert horse too, so people are going to jump on him just for that. But on top of that, he hasn't lost yet, and he's blowing people out of the track. So okay, Forte it is.
Right. Next, what do we have next? We have Juvenile Turf.
Juvenile Turf.
And you know what's funny? As I see this slide, I'm very busy. I just took him off as my pick. 30 minutes ago, and there's no reason why. I love that horse too. But I was looking at the PPs again.
Yeah.
I like Paxa Wahlop at 6-1.
Sure.
And not much more. I mean, it's again, we're talking juveniles on turf, bro.
Yeah.
You can't get any more wide open. So the fact
that
they're 6-1 or 9-2, which by the way could go either way, they could both end up being bigger prices than that, even, or somebody might tighten up. Nobody knows yet. That's the beauty of the Breeders' Cup. This is a big field. I have a feeling I love Mike Smith in big races, even though he's
getting up there in age,
an older gentleman like me. But I think he pulls it off here. This horse is great. Go watch some of Paxa Wallop's closing kicks in his short career.
Yeah.
You might be impressed as well. That was kind of the clincher for me. Why'd you land on I'm very busy?
So I'll start off by saying this is one of the races I'm looking at that also could go way off favorite here. And obviously,
Yes.
I went with the second morning line favorite. I just really like I'm very busy. A lot of good horses, a lot of good closing numbers. But I like the Pratt Brown combination. I like the way that yeah, his last two races, the race value on both of those was extremely high for me. He's got the best closing numbers per my model. So that's why I went with him, thinking in a pinch he's going to be able to pass a lot of horses down the stretch. But really, I mean, I look at this whole list. I'm not going to give you too many names, but like Reckoning Force, Victoria Road, Gaslight Dancer. There's a whole bunch of them
I
on
like
here.
Gaslight Dancer. I think it's harder.
Ah,
It's quicker to name the horses that don't have a shot in this
mm,
race.
it really is.
It's awesome. I love Juvenile Night because it's wide open. Don't invest your whole pocketbook because it's gonna be bombs away, which makes it fun. But do not fall in love too much with any horse on Friday night. That's the key to Breeders' Cup. Let's move.
By the way, Gaslight Dancer's not in that race.
No,
Just
14.
kidding. Just kidding. It's a gaslight joke. Gaslight joke. Move on.
Oh, bang, club
yeah.
banger.
Yeah, you got
That's a chunky.
That's a chunky. Look at him. Moving
Let's go.
on.
Billy and Mare Sprint.
You went with Echo Zulu too. Look at that. High five. Hard to pass on Echo Zulu, right?
I didn't want to, but I think she's going to get a good price. 6-1 morning, I hope.
Yeah.
The most consistent horse of the bunch. That's the real reason why.
Absolutely.
Should be close to the front, which will reduce any threats of major traffic issues.
Yeah.
Echo Zulu's been nothing but a class act and great horse during her whole career. Why not?
I'm shocked that there's two horses. They're good horses, but there's at least two horses that are favored over Echo Zulu and another one matched. And that shocked me at 6-1. I mean, how often do you get that for Echo Zulu? But everything you said, I mean, we're talking about a 7 furlong race. Echo Zulu's been pretty good at longer distances. I think she falls back to 7 furlongs and is just fine. And yeah, just destroys, gets really high quality wins, finishing distances, spacing out between her and second place. Echo Zulu is really tough to pass up here. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm interested.
That's where I landed. And I tossed around 3 or 4 other choices, and it just, if you can get anywhere near 6-1, that's probably a safe play. I mean,
I think so.
Again, not necessarily the place you want to play safe at the Breeders' Cup, but hey,
yeah,
I'm a conservative bettor, so let's go.
Reserve
Turf Sprint. Talk about conservative. Here's my first piece of chalk that I'm going to eat. Golden Pal at 2-1.
Yeah.
Chewing chalk for a living here, but
chewing chalk for a living. Yeah, Golden Pal. I mean, you know what I think of Golden Pal, right?
I worked hard to fade. Yeah, I know.
Oh, there it is.
I worked hard to fade Golden Pal, and I couldn't get there. I tried 2-1, and I think 2-1's generous. You're not going to get that on Golden Pal, but I couldn't beat him.
All right,
Go ahead.
You couldn't beat Golden
Justify
Pal.
yourself. Nope, I couldn't.
All right, so this is a huge race. I mean, we're talking 16 horses entered in right away. Golden Pal has had some issues. I don't know if we've released a case against Golden Pal yet, but there's definitely a case against Golden Pal. His last couple of races have not looked spectacular, not to the point where I would think that in a 16 horse field, someone couldn't beat him. I chose Creative Force. Matt DeSantis, high five, right? We're going Charlie Appleby here. Pushing my chips in a Creative Force in the 1 hole. Really like his closing numbers. Charlie Appleby plus William Buick. Great team there. I think there's huge value on this horse. Seen a number of wins over the years. This past year, struggled to get wins, especially the past couple races. But I think getting the 1 hole here might favor him a little bit, especially in a short race. Having the closing number there, I'm just fading Golden Pal here, and I'm thinking that there's something about Creative Force that that could be a nice little upset here at 10-1.
Yeah, it's another race where I have Golden Pal. This is again the win pick video. Won't necessarily bet them because it's too open. it's too big of a field on turf. You cannot bet this kind of chalk. But if you're putting a gun to my head to pick the winner, it's Golden Pal. Let's move. Let's keep her moving. Dirt Mile. We're both kind of chalky here. Cody's Wish.
Not too bad, but I'll toss up some Chalk Eater because none of us
Go
went
ahead.
above 5. So I'm going
Justified
Laurel River. Laurel River, perfect in his last 3, putting distance between himself and the next horse in all 3. Very good race value, especially at 8 furlongs and 7 furlongs. That's why I'm tagging Laurel River here at 9-2.
Yeah,
Cody's
I looked
Wish. What you got?
Another one, Cody's Wish. Very similarly to Golden Pal. I tried to justify beating him. Couldn't do it. I love Cyberknife.
Wow.
I wanted to make Cyberknife work. I wanted to make Senor Buscador work even more.
Shocked you didn't.
Hey, if we were doing a value bet video right here, I would have. But
okay,
if we're talking straight winners, I think
yeah.
Cody's Wish is the best. I feel like he's going to win going away, not like these turf races where they're going to flare out 8 wide at the end.
Sure.
I think he might march away.
We saw him pass Jackie's Warrior a couple weeks ago, so there you go.
Yeah, very impressive.
What we got next here? Got a 9 furlong
Philly and Mare Turf.
Ooh.
A couple different choices. I went a little chalkier there, not pure chalk, but
look at that. Look what we got there. Go ahead. What's all about in Italian for you here?
We got the Rosario Chad Brown combo.
Oh, that's good.
If she gets a clean break, she's coming off the best race of her career. Speed wise, I feel like at 7-2, which I think is going to be longer, by the way, because I think horses like Moira are going to get bet.
I think so. At 10-1, she's not going to get past.
Yeah, I don't think Moira's going there because everybody that I've seen.
Yep.
Thank you, Macho Man, Randy.
He's agreeing with you. He's taken in consideration.
I think Moira is going to get a little more love along with about 4 other horses. I think an Italian is going to be about 5-6-1 going off and coming off the best race. I really like on turf. I really like looking at the last race more specifically than the whole history.
Yeah.
I love an Italian here. Rosario's the master. Go ahead.
Moira. So I try to take a laser focus on these types of races at the distance, and I love the race value that I have seen here from Moira. Distance, turf, speed figures aren't as sexy as Nashua and Virginia Joy, but when she wins, she has some really good spacing that I like. When she loses, it's actually pretty close. Like her second place finishes are usually off by a head or so. Really consistent for Moira. So at 10-1, I had a hard time passing up on Moira.
Don't hate you for it. I don't think you're going to get 10-1.
I don't think I am either, but yeah. That's where it is today. Next.
Chalk Eater. Bring him back.
Oh, no. You're going to make me... You're going to make me find Chalk Eater. There he is.
I was hoping for the Jackie's Warrior, Jack Christopher duel. Didn't happen.
Weren't we all? Yeah.
Would have been great. Jackie's Warrior is going to win easily. It's cute to try to find something else, but no. Couldn't do it.
I disagree.
Speed.
Jackie's
Give me elite power.
If I get around to it, I will be doing a case against Jackie's Warrior because I think it exists. Obvious favorite here, but I've got a great grade on elite power, to be honest with you, at 6-1. Really like him at this distance. 4 solid wins in a row. Not huge, but again, good space between him and second place. A bit of a closer and could use help from the rabbits to wear down Jackie's Warrior. I think that's going to be the key to this, is if there's enough of those rabbits, and I think I spotted a few at the later gates, to challenge Jackie's Warrior early on. I don't know if Jackie's Warrior mentally can handle having a number of horses up high with him in some of these races, right? I think if he's in a smaller race, 7-6, he's fine. I worry about it here. I think elite power as a closer can do to Jackie's Warrior what we saw Cody's Wish do, potentially. Pass him up on the stretch after Jackie's Warrior is gassed after sprinting for 5 furlongs.
I think Jackie's Warrior is playing in the back 9 too, which is my one flaw in that game. But let's move along. Let's keep it rolling.
Keep it rolling.
And here comes my best bet of the weekend.
Uh-oh.
Annapolis 10-1.
Oh,
here we go. Chunky showing up.
I have to admit, I'm a little disappointed I didn't pick Annapolis. I looked at it afterwards and thought, oh man, Annapolis, that's my boy right there.
Speaking of
I'll let you have the glory.
Going back and watching replays. Watch Annapolis last out which faced many of these same rivals.
Yeah.
Impressive win. Impressive. Awesome. Should be on the lead. Coming off the best career race.
Yeah.
Boom.
Impressive.
10-1.
Impressive right there. Yeah. 10-1. I know. I was not expecting Annapolis to get 10-1. I was expecting 4-1 for
That's a
Annapolis.
stacked race. Probably the
It
most
is.
stacked race of the whole weekend.
It
though,
is.
But,
I was looking at that race thinking, oh my God, look at those horses, right?
Yeah, that's a talent-filled festival right there.
Yeah, and that's one of those ones that
justify for me Kinross a little bit. 92,
Yeah.
there's a lot of hype.
Honestly, a little risky for me to go with Kinross here, especially at 9-2. More of a sprinter than a miler, so you get a lot of the 6s and the 7s in there. It's not a huge stretch to go up from 7 to 8 furlongs. Graded out really high for me overall, though. Huge race. I do regret not taking a little bit more of a long shot, taking in Annapolis. But Kinross is another one of those horses that has piled up just a ton of impressive wins, 4 impressive wins in a row, wins in huge fields. The last race that Kinross had beat 17 horses in the British Champion Sprint Stakes, some of those horses in this field as well. So I was just looking at purely accomplishments, recent wins, and saying Kinross, I think can tackle the challenge here.
Kinross will be involved in every single ticket that I have. That's not a straight win bet.
There you have it. And that's the smart move.
Distaff.
Oh,
this is like,
oh, there it is.
Outside of slop them up.
Slop them up.
This. If you get 3-1 on Malathot,
yeah,
bankroll me.
Yeah, how about that? Can you imagine getting 3-1 on Malathot?
Yeah, I don't think it can happen. I love it. That's the best bet of the week, and like probably the easiest bet of the weekend. I feel like, and of course, Nest is a monster.
Yeah,
Clariere is a monster. Malathot's better than those two right now. I'm sorry, 3-1. Yeah. If I get 3-1 on that, that's $1,000 bet win.
This distaff, I don't know. It's a deep field. It is a fun field to look at, a tough one to handicap. I agree. Malathot looks like the best horse. With our formula, it graded out as the best horse. She's a real strong competitor. Obviously, there's an asterisk next to Clariere's last race. Nest, questions about competition, right? Malathot's had definitely steeper competition to face, and I think that's why she gets the edge here.
Agreed. And let's move on to the last two. The last interesting race of the weekend.
Are you saying the last one's not interesting? Broome?
No, it's not. Broome.
Broome? How do you say
Broome, the Irish dancing the Irish jig at 12-1.
My goodness.
This is a big field.
I get it.
This is a big field. Okay. The reason I like Broome, he likes to be on the lead. And if this is a race that, if there's a lot of traffic issues, Keeneland has been showing a lot. I think speed is favoring the turf. The turf course speed has been holding up very well, and Broome is going to be on the front. Not sure if he'll have the lead, but he will be close.
It will be. Yeah, you're right.
And there's the question of the soft turf. Yeah, I get it. We're talking 12-1. Go ahead and bet whoever you like, Mishriff at 6-1. The fact is, this is pretty open, and I like Broome at 12-1 out of all the decent prices here.
Yeah,
you're putting a gun to my head to bet. I like Broome 12-1. Go
12-1. Wow, I did go chalkier here, and of course, it's turf, it's Breeders' Cup, it's 13 horses, so that is a little bit risky. It's not. Is it the most chalky horse in the race? No, it's the second most. Rebel's Romance is the chalkiest. So it's the
3-1
number 2. Yeah, exactly. I almost picked Mishriff here because he graded out in my model really well. But here's the thing. Recency, not so great in terms of where he's placed out, although I've watched a few of the races and you can see him getting boxed in a few times.
Oh, yeah.
But also, if this is his last race, are they really going to send him and risk injury in his last race? We've seen that so many times with last races where, hey, this horse is going out for a swan song and all of a sudden they finish 5th when they've never finished anywhere less than 3rd in their past, right? So I'm passing on Mishriff. Warlake Goddess, second morning line, last win, the G1, Joe Hirsch at Belmont. 2 3/4 lengths over Bye Melvin and others, including Gufo, in a 1.5 mile race. So likes the distance, has won at the distance, has beat some of these horses, and put out distance in between himself and herself and those horses. And I think Warlike Goddess has proven quite a bit, but I do like some of these 20 to 1s are looking real sexy, I must say. Gold Phoenix,
Yeah,
that's gonna make my ticket somewhere.
Yeah, the only argument against Warlike Goddess is the morning line odds. If she goes off anywhere near that, you can't touch that in this field. It's too good of a field.
All right.
Moving along. Classic.
Yeah, I got the GIF ready.
I think
there it is.
I think we can make this pretty short and sweet with the Classic. Kind of a letdown.
Yeah, get it
but
twice.
If you're going to be at the race, it won't be a letdown if you get to see like a Secretariat type run like White Line had last time. Man, it could be history, and it could be history if somebody beats him. It is a talented field. This horse is a freak show, as we all know. We don't need to dwell on it too much because everybody already knows the story on Flightline. If you're watching this channel, you probably are familiar with Flightline's work, and the horse is an absolute freak.
Have we posted videos on Flightline?
I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah.
Anything else to close out on the Classic? Who's going to get there if anybody does? For me, it's Epicenter.
Yeah. I think if anyone gets there to win other than Flightline, it's Epicenter. Other horses that I like that are long odds, I really do like Rich Strike. I think that you could see a situation here where Flightline and Life is Good get tangled up early on, set a monstrous pace. One of them drops out. Spoiler alert, it's Life is Good. And you see Rich Strike come in like he did at the Kentucky Derby and sweep up the mess because some of the horses are just so gassed by that last quarter of a mile.
But that's where I think that situation favors Epicenter too. But I
agree.
I'm a big fan of Richie Rich. I hope it does get involved. I think Richie Rich has a shot to hit the board for sure. So.
I've faded him a lot lately, but after the last couple races, I'm totally on board with Rich Strike doing something in this race. I really am.
I'm rooting for Richie, rooting for Epi, rooting for history.
Absolutely.
It'll be fun to remember this, 30 years from now. So with that said, good stuff. We went too long as usual. Breeders' Cup weekend. Good times. Peace out.
Peace out.
Peace, love, and